Chapter 516 Four-Direction Martial Academy Seclusion Mishap in the Death Swamp _2 after Gu Shenzhong left, Lu Yin pondered. It seems that apart from the remnants of the Red Moon Demon sect, the Four-Direction Prefecture has no major hidden dangers. Originally, the Red Sun sect and the Green Jade sect, which were the strongest, had only a few big fish escape. Bai Changfeng and others could easily lead 100-man squad to eradicate them. Of course, in order to collect as many pills and spiritual objects as possible, Lu Yun had to take action personally. 3 days later, the Green Jade sect was eradicated. The resources of the sect were plundered, and Lu Yun obtained many pills and spiritual objects. After refining them all, his energy level returned to the 5 million marks. Half a month later, all the sect forces were wiped out in the Four-Direction Prefecture, and the energy level on his panel jumped again, reaching as much as 6 million. When he returned to Four-Direction City, the city had taken on a new look, with a well-ordered Qilin army, bustling streets, and smiling people. Obviously, under the governance of Gu Shenzhong, everything was on the right track. Meanwhile, in the southeast of Four-Direction City, connected to the Heavenly Cloud mountain range, groups of buildings were rising from the ground. That place was the Four-Direction Martial Academy. In terms of scale, the Four-Direction Martial Academy was even larger than the Flying Spirit Martial Academy. After all, the dean of the Four-Direction Martial Academy was an early-stage Golden Core realm powerhouse. Saint Child Lu Yin, have you arrived? Upon seeing Lu Yun's arrival, Master Changshan greeted him personally. Lu Yun's eyes turned to a young boy and girl who followed behind Master Changshan. Both of them were about 10 years old, full of spirituality, and had extraordinary innate talent. I took these 2 little fellows as my disciples 2 days ago. Master Changshan smiled slightly and said to the 2 disciples, Qing'er, Xianfeng, this is Saint Child Lu Yin, who not only possesses unparalleled talent, but also wields powerful divine abilities. Pay your respects quickly. Greetings to Saint Child Lu Yin. Although they didn't know what Saint Child meant, Qing'er and Xianfeng still respectfully bowed to Lu Yun. Lu Yun nodded slightly, then waved his sleeve and gave them each some spirit herbs. These spirit herbs had excellent effects for building one's foundation. Lu Yun had collected many spirit herbs and also had 2 herbs to improve innate talent. When he returned to Cloudwater County, he would have Lu He and Lu Yu take them. Upon seeing the spirit herbs in front of them, Qing'er and Xianfeng did not accept them immediately, but looked at their master for guidance. True Master Yun Shan laughed and said, These are gifts from Saint Child Lu Yin. Just accept them. Thank you, Saint Child Lu Yin. The 2 accepted the spirit herbs in front of them and bowed in unison to Lu Yun again. Lu Yun waved his hand slightly and then said to True Master Yun Shan, One planned to borrow your sacred place for some cultivation, and I hope True Master Yun Shan can accommodate me. Upon hearing this, Master Changshan's old face revealed a hint of surprise, but he didn't ask questions. Instead, he just laughed and said, No problem. Saint Child Lu Yin, feel free to choose a place. I'll inform others not to approach it casually. Then Lu Yun followed Master Changshan into Four-Direction Martial Academy. At this point, the Four-Direction Martial Academy was just an empty shell. Apart from Master Changshan and the 2 new disciples he had accepted, there were only the manual laborers working on building the palace. However, the palaces and pavilions were almost finished, and the only thing left to do was to recruit disciples with innate talent in Four-Direction Prefecture. Just then, Lu Yun's gaze was suddenly drawn to a building. Myriad Phenomena Tower? Looking at the magnificent and towering Myriad Phenomena Tower, which had dozens of floors, Lu Yun couldn't help but exclaim in astonishment. Having reached his current realm, very few external objects could astonish him. However, after seeing that Four-Direction Martial Academy also had a Myriad Phenomena Tower, he was genuinely shocked. In his opinion, the Myriad Phenomena Tower was a trial place for the disciples of the Flying Spirit Martial Academy, and other academies should not have one. Strictly speaking, this is not the true Myriad Phenomena Tower, but a sub-entity of it, said Master Changshan, seeing the shocked expression on Lu Yun's face. The true Myriad Phenomena Tower is in the Origin Martial Academy, with a total of 72 floors. It is in existence above spiritual artifacts. A sub-entity of the Myriad Phenomena Tower. This was the first time Lu Yun had heard of it. But when he learned that the true Myriad Phenomena Tower had 72 floors, he was even more astonished. The Myriad Phenomena Tower of the Flying Spirit Martial Academy had only 36 floors. According to his knowledge, that Myriad Phenomena Tower was at the level of spirit artifact. The real Myriad Phenomena Tower had a total of 72 floors, which was terrifying. When one gets to the Origin Martial Academy, I must take a good look at that Myriad Phenomena Tower. Withdrawing his gaze from the towering Myriad Phenomena Tower, Lu Yun said, I will cultivate in the back mountain, and there might be some disturbances. After speaking, he turned into a rainbow light and flew toward the back mountain. Master, what is a saint child? Qing'er asked with a puzzled expression as Lu Yun's figure disappeared into the sky. Master Changshan said in a kind way, you will find out later. What you need to do now is to cultivate the martial arts skills that I have passed on to you and build a solid foundation. Then he slightly shook his head. Qing'er and Xianfeng had innate talent of level 7 and level 8, respectively. Such talents were 1 in 10,000. Standing at the apex of 99% of martial artists. But there was no chance they could become Saint Child. He didn't want to hit the confidence of his 2 disciples, so he did not tell them any related information about the Saint Child. While Lu Yun was in seclusion at Four Direction Martial Academy, far away in the southern swamp of the Scarlet Moon Demon Domain. This was a rarely explored area, with large tracts of swamps and forests. Near the sea, there are rivers and lakes crisscrossing the land, with water covering most of the area. And now, in this swamp, a sacred white lotus emitting a holy aura slowly bloomed. As the white lotus exhaled spiritual breath, crocodiles in the swamp and other living creatures within the range of several tens of miles fell into a dreamlike state. With the passage of time, the vitality and souls of these creatures were gradually drained, turning into the withered corpses. This abnormality gradually aroused the vigilance of other living creatures and retreated from the area. In this way, this area of swamp became a forbidden zone for thousands of miles around, and very few living creatures dared to set foot in it. A young man with a handsome and elegant appearance, dressed in a blue robe, broke in. He was followed by many martial artists. At the forefront was a black-robed man who had a cultivated origin fluid realm in his breath. He looked at the young man who rushed into the swamp without hesitation and coldly said, By Fan, that is the death swamp, undoubtedly a way to seek death. The young man named By Fan didn't pay any attention to the other's words and staggered deeper into the swamp. At the same time, a dark fog rushed in, enveloping the entire swamp. The black-robed martial artist showed a worried expression as he looked at the black fog that was spreading. However, compared to the black fog, he was more fearful of the terror in the depths of the swamp. In the past, although the death swamp was terrifying, it was not considered a forbidden place. On the contrary, there were many spirit herbs in it, which was one of the places where adventurous martial artists sought chances. However, from a few months ago, living creatures in the death swamp were killed for no reason, and even the adventurous martial artists who entered it did not survive. Gradually, this place became a taboo area, feared by martial artists. When Bai Fan entered the depths of the death swamp, he saw the martial artist behind him not catching up and tragically knelt on the ground, his eyes red, shouting to the sky. His family, his father and siblings, were all killed by the Yang family. He escaped by a fluke, but was pursued thousands of miles, and had no choice but to flee into the death swamp. I, Bai Fan, will take this vow of vengeance for my father's murder and for my family's extermination, and have no peace until it is. Bai Fan roared and held to the sky, and extreme hatred surged in his heart. He had blood-red eyes, and his blood vessels seemed to explode, making him look like a madman. At that moment, a beam of sacred light fell on his head. You want to take revenge, but with your skinny body and cultivation in the Meridian Passage realm, when can you take revenge? A frivolous and mocking voice suddenly sounded in Bai Fan's mind. I want to become stronger. I must kill all the members of the Yang family. I must take revenge for this. I, Bai Fan, even if entering the Nine Nether and going to Huangquan, would not hesitate. Bai Fan's handsome face twisted, looking hideous like a fierce ghost. Chapter 517. The One Who Kills You. Bai Fan holy light enveloped everything. In this silent swamp, Bai Fan's eyes were blood-red, and his face twisted as he swore an oath. To avenge the blood enmity, even if my soul falls into depravity and never returns to the cycle of reincarnation, are you still willing? Bathed in the holy light, a cold and enchanting voice echoed in Bai Fan's cars, and it seemed to penetrate deep into his mind and soul. At the same time, the bloody scenes of his family being annihilated and his father being killed constantly replayed in his mind. What if the soul falls into depravity? What if it never returns to the cycle of reincarnation? I want revenge, no matter the cost. Thinking of his father and family smiles and the bloody scenes when they were killed, Bai Fan took a deep breath and spoke with an icy voice. He had lost his father and his family, becoming a homeless dog, and had even been hunted to the death swamp. He had already lost everything. Why fear losing more? Fine. Since that's the case, I will give you an opportunity. As the words fell, the holy light flickered, and then the black fog lingering over the swamp dissipated, revealing a hole-filled passage. I have prepared a bloodbath for you, which will allow your cultivation to advance quickly in a short time. Follow the guidance and go ahead. Bai Fan glanced at the passage before him, his eyes flowing, and then with a flash of his figure entered the passage. The passage was made of white bones, but it exuded a holy aura, blocking the black fog on both sides. After an unknown amount of time, he arrived at the end of the passage, where there was a completely different world from the death swamp, like a cave heaven. A white lotus, shrouded in holy light, emitted spiritual aura and glimmers of colorful light. Many spiritual objects grew around it, cluttered together, making Bai Fan's eyes dazzle. What made him gasp even more was that under the white lotus seat there was a blood pool. The blood was emanating a powerful aura, clearly the blood of some terrifyingly powerful creature. What do you think of the opportunity one prepared for you? The previous voice, filled with ridicule, sounded again. Who arc you and where arc you? Bai Fan stabilized his heart and looked around. No need to search. I am right in front of you. The white lotus trembled, emitting brilliant light and dispersing the boundless darkness. Bai Fan's gaze suddenly fell on the huge white lotus in front of him, and he was immediately stunned. You arc White Lotus. The White Lotus is me, but I am not the White Lotus. Ignoring Bai Fan's confusion, the voice continued. This blood pool is composed of the blood of many high-ranking creatures, and it also contains a drop of my original fluid. It is enough for you to undergo a complete transformation. Upon hearing that it could bring a complete transformation, Bai Fan's heart couldn't help but tremble. If that were the case, he would be able to personally kill his enemies, which would be delightful. Thinking of this, Bai Fan gritted his teeth, stepped into the blood pool, and began to refine himself. He was not afraid of his soul falling into depravity and never returning to the cycle of reincarnation. So why would he consider whether this was a trap or not? Yang family, Yang Qinyuan, just wait. When I appear before you again, don't be afraid. Feeling his own strength continuously soaring, the flames of revenge burned in Bai Fan's eyes. On Four Direction Martial Academy's side, as Lu Yun cultivated in the back mountain, anomalies would occasionally occur. Every time he refined an imperishable golden bone, Not only would it cause fluctuations in the heavenly and earthly spiritual qi, but it would also emit a strong wave. Lu Yin couldn't control this. The Great Sun Undying Golden Body was a sacred body cultivation technique, and the emergence of anomalies during cultivation proved its extraordinary nature. About a month later, Lu Yun's spirit crystals were reduced to less than half, but he had only successfully refined 30 imperishable golden bones. Looking at the less than 100,000 spirit crystals remaining, Lu Yun never thought that he would one day be short of spirit crystals. This Great Sun Undying Golden Body consumes too many resources. Lu Yun shook his head helplessly. Let's temporarily stop cultivating the Great Sun Undying Golden Body and wait until I have abundant resources or find an excellent place to cultivate. Immediately, Lu Yun looked inwards at his Yuan Hai. Above the surging golden Yuan Hai, a huge rune seed lay horizontally, emitting blazing golden light like a scorching sun releasing colorful rays. Surrounding it, several runes circulated, intertwined with a rich aura of law. 175 runes, each exuding different quantities of law. Among them, the weakest rune reached more than 1,200 laws, and the strongest rune had more than 2,500 laws engraved on it, like a golden river connecting the flesh, Yuan Hai, and rune seed. If other Golden Core realm martial artists saw this rune, they would probably be shocked with their jaws dropping. Those who had just entered the Golden Core realm, their strongest rune barely reached 1,000 laws. And in the middle of the Golden Core realm, they only managed to engrave 2,000 laws on a single rune. With rune seed realm cultivation, possessing such vast laws could only be achieved by a monstrous genius like Lu Yin. However, he was not satisfied with this. It's time to improve my cultivation. His gaze immediately fell on the panel. Name: Lu Yin. Power: Flying Spirit Martial Academy, Demon Suppression Army, Cultivation Techniques, Pure Yang Martial Arts Canon. Rune Seed Chapter: 10% Great Accomplishment, Wind Thunder Manual, 3rd Layer, Instant Horizon 100%, Fist Scripture, 2nd Layer, Sky Lion Shaking the Sky 100%, Finger Scripture, 1st Layer, Formless Tribulation Finger 100%, Sky Brilliance Thunder Sword True Art, 3rd Layer, One Invincible Strike 100%, Demon Slaying God Killing Saber, Divine Ability 2nd Level, Heaven and Earth Draw Saber / Divine Ability 2nd Level. Chapter 518, The One Who Kills You by Fan_2, Innate Talent, Level 10 Mortal Level Limit, Martial Arts, Late Stage of Rune Seed Realm, Energy Value, 6. 575 million, automatically increases by 100 daily. Conception, Slaughter Conception, 8th Stage 88%, Thunder Conception, 8th Stage 35%, Spatial Conception, 8th Stage 1%. Skills, Alchemy Technique, 7th Rank 1%. Talents, White Lotus Flame, 7th Rank 53%. Luck Value, 227. His thoughts settled on the Rune Seed chapter of the Pure Yang Martial Arts Canon. Upgrade. He seemed to be immersed in an ocean of laws, constantly capturing them, imprisoning them with runes, and continuously strengthening himself. As Lu Yin fell into enlightenment, the back mountain of the Four-Direction Martial Academy was enveloped in absolute silence, with occasional golden light spreading over an area of several hundred miles. No wonder he's a saint child on par with the others. With such a short time in seclusion, he has made another significant breakthrough. Gazing at the golden misty area behind the mountain, Master Changshan showed a wistful expression. It took him 100 years of cultivation to reach the Golden Core realm, which could be described as exceptionally talented. However, compared with Lu Yin, he suddenly seemed overshadowed. Such a dense concentration of heavenly and earthly spiritual qi is almost comparable to the top cultivation grounds in the Origin Martial Academy. Thinking of this, Master Changshan acted swiftly, picking up Qing'er and Xianfeng and flying into the back mountain. The heavenly and earthly spiritual qi here is due to Saint Child Lu Yun's breakthrough. He doesn't need it, but you can use it to build your foundation. Qing'er and Xianfeng were stunned at first, then quickly realized and sat down cross-legged, beginning to practice their cultivation techniques and absorbing the surrounding spiritual qi. Although the Four-Direction Martial Academy was also rich in spiritual qi, it was incomparable to the back mountain at the moment. As the two of them circulated their martial arts and absorbed spiritual qi, their realms continuously improved, and they soon opened up their first meridian. Don't rush to increase your cultivation. Try to widen your meridians and lay a solid foundation. Master Changshan's voice was like a booming bell reaching into their ears. Qing'er gritted her teeth in pain, her little face covered in crystal-clear sweat. Opening meridian lines was an extremely painful process. Widening them caused even greater pain. But she didn't forget Master Changshan's words and kept absorbing spiritual qi to widen her meridian. After the first meridian was widened to the limit and could no longer endure, she continued to open the second meridian. Zuanfeng's was even more determined than Qing'er's, as his talent was better. Being an 8-star innate talent, he was able to withstand greater limits. Master Changshan wasn't idle either. While closely watching his two disciples, he kept striking and tempering them to ensure a solid foundation without hidden dangers. Boom! Before long, Qing'er successively broke through the second and third meridian lines, each one exceptionally wide and tough. After all, with such thick heavenly and earthly spiritual qi, plus the care of a golden core realm expert, Master Changshan couldn't help but smile at the scene. As for Master Changshan, both Qing'er and Xianfeng were extremely talented disciples. Both were geniuses destined to enter the rune seed realm in the future. Given the opportunity, they might even have a chance to break through to the golden core realm. Of course, Lu Yun saw all of this, but as Master Changshan said, the spiritual qi here was stirred up by his breakthrough, and it didn't have much use for him. When Qing'er had maximally widened her 5th meridian and was about to proceed to the 6th, Master Changshan stopped her. Qing'er, although you have expanded each meridian to the limit, consecutively expanding so many meridians has reached the limit for your body. If you continue to open meridians, it will damage your foundation. Wait until it is fully consolidated and strengthened before continuing to cultivate. Upon hearing this, Qing'er finally stopped cultivating, her face showing an expression of reluctance. However, she didn't dare to disobey her master's advice. Although she didn't know what realm her master was at, she believed he was omnipotent. The anomaly in the back mountain of the Four-Direction Martial Academy lasted for another half-month. At the same time, in the Death Swamp, a handsome young man was constantly refining blood, his cultivation steadily rising. After completely refining his blood, his aura had reached a terrifying level. Above his head, a sacred white lotus bloomed like a pure sky. This youth was none other than Bai Fan. However, compared to half a month ago, Bai Fan's personality had changed, becoming more calm and restrained. He was no longer naive and full of hatred as before. Yang family, Yang Chenyan, is this your final obsession? Bai Fan's eyes narrowed slightly as he pondered. Although he was still the same youth, filled with hatred, his soul had actually changed. Since I've taken over your body, your hatred is mine. Go in peace. As his words fell, the emaciated soul hidden deep in his sea of consciousness completely dissipated. From now on, there would be no more Situ Shah in the world, only Bai Fan. Bai Fan reached out, and the sacred white lotus, radiating holy light, flew into his palm. This object was the Nine-Turn Pure Heart White Lotus. At Plate City in Four Directions Prefecture, there was a luxurious and extravagant mansion. The entire mansion covered a vast area with artificial mountains, strange rocks, pavilions, corridors, gardens, ponds, and multiple practice venues for martial arts. At a glance, this mansion occupied nearly 1/10 of Plate City's East District. This mansion was none other than the ancestral home of the Yang family in Plate City. Originally, the Plate City Yang family was one of the subordinate forces of the Red Sun sect. But a few months ago, they announced their separation from the Red Sun sect and unconditionally accepted the jurisdiction of the governor's mansion of Four Direction Prefecture. Since they were the first family to pledge allegiance to the governor's mansion, their reputation in Plate City skyrocketed once again. Nowadays, the vast Plate City was virtually dominated by the Yang family alone. Their patriarch, Yang Chenyuan, was a legendary figure with wise and decisive actions. After the collapse of the Red Moon Demon sect, he promptly cut ties with the sect. At this moment, he was at the Yang family's practice field, watching the many young clan members. His authoritative voice rang out. In 3 days, the enrollment examination of the Four Direction Martial Academy will begin. Perform well, and strive to become the first batch of students of the Martial Academy, so you can strengthen our Yang family in the future. Yes, Patriarch! More than a dozen young men and women responded, and longing filled their eyes. The term Martial Academy was unfamiliar to them, but it did not prevent them from eagerly chasing after it, because they had been told by their elders that martial academies were similar to sects, but their foundation and heritage were far beyond what ordinary sects could compare. As long as they entered the academy, they would become the new nobility of the Four Directions Prefecture. Just then, a sinister youth dressed in green quietly entered the Yang family compound. The guard seemed not to notice him, allowing him free entry. As the sinister youth passed by, a white mist emerged, and then nearby martial artists one after another collapsed. Strange enough, these martial artists all had smiles on their faces, as if they had entered a wonderful dream. So, you are Yang Chenyuan. The sinister youth appeared before Yang Chenyuan, a smile in his eyes. Who are you? Yang Chenyuan was shocked by this sudden turn of events, and his voice trembled a little. The sinister youth frowned slightly, then pointed his finger. A burst of light shot out, and Yang Chenyuan, who was at the peak of the origin fluid realm, had his right arm cut off at the shoulder. Whoever you are, if you attack me, Yang Chenyuan, Plate City will not have a place for you, nor will Four Direction Prefecture, and even the entire Scarlet Moon Demon Domain will have no place for you to stay. Enduring intense pain, Yang Chenyuan threatened the sinister youth. Now that the Four Direction Prefecture was fully established, their Yang family, as the largest family in Plate City, had made a huge contribution to maintaining the stability of the city. The prefecture lord had promised that Yang Chenyuan would be the lord of Plate City. If the youth killed him, it would be equivalent to killing a court officer and opposing Morijin. It seems you don't learn your lesson. The sinister youth shook his head slightly, then flicked his finger. Another powerful light flew out, cutting off Yang Qianyuan's other arm. I, Yang Chenyuan, am the Plate City lord personally appointed by the prefecture lord of Four Direction Prefecture. If you kill me, you will be opposing the county governor and the entire Morijin. You better think about the consequences. Yang Qianyuan's voice trembled as he could feel the strength of this person. In front of him, he was no different from a child. It seems I haven't mistaken my target. The sinister youth's pupils flickered with light, and he said with a faint smile, Remember, the one who killed you is a survivor of the Bai family, Bai Fan. Chapter 519 Dragon Lake City. Dugashanshin, the news of the extermination of the Yang family of Plate City overnight spread quickly throughout the Four Direction Prefecture, causing unrest among the people. Gu Shanzhong immediately dispatched the commander of the Qilin army to investigate, but it came up empty-handed. The only discovery was that nearly 1,000 people of the Yang family had died in their dreams, with the exception of the family head, Yang Chenyuan. Moreover, there were no signs of fighting at the scene, nor was it clear who or what kind of power was behind this. However, one thing was certain. There were still many hidden dangers in the Four-Direction Prefecture. Half a month later, Lu Yin finally left seclusion. At this moment, his cultivation had astonishingly reached the perfection of the Rune Seed realm, and the law aura surrounding him became even stronger, with a faint Tao rhyme in his movements. It happened that the Four-Direction Martial Academy was holding disciple recruitment exams, and Master Changshan and his 2 disciples were busy. Lu Yin did not disturb them and left the Four-Direction Martial Academy alone. At this time, the internal and external threats in the Four-Direction Prefecture had been resolved by Changfeng, and the Demon Suppression Army had already left, returning to Sky Pool City. As for Lu Yin, he planned to undergo his final tempering in the nearby sea area. 2 days later, outside Plate City, Lu Yin frowned slightly as he heard some rumors along the way. The nearly 1,000 members of the Yang family of Plate City had died in some strange way. Woof woof. A black dog barked softly, looking at Lu Yin with rolling eyes, extremely on guard. Lu Yin gently touched the black dog, and a ball of light entered its body. The dog immediately became well-behaved, lying on the ground and wagging its tail gently. Entering the Yang residence, Lu Yin slowly closed his eyes. His senses of hearing and smell instantly increased several times. A gentle breeze brushed by, bringing with it the faint scent of blood. Besides that, there was also a faint fragrance. This fragrance was extremely faint, almost imperceptible. Lu Yin opened his eyes, and a hint of disappointment flashed across his face. This kind of method isn't something ordinary people can handle. Is it the remnants of the Red Cloud Demon sect, or someone from other sects? Lu Yin shook his head slightly and waved his hand. A rune flew out, drawing on a large amount of laws, and fell upon the corpses in the courtyard. Immediately afterward, he turned and left. Following that, the golden light on the corpses lying on the ground flickered and slowly dissipated. As the corpses disappeared, the lingering evil qi and bloody smell in the air gradually faded away. Arriving at the entrance of the courtyard, the well-behaved black dog was still lying on the ground. Upon seeing Lu Yin approaching, its tail, which had a tuft of white fur, began to waggle. "You seem to know something." Lu Yin walked over slowly, picked up the black dog from the ground, gently stroked its soft ears, and a faint golden glow emanated, soon covering the black dog completely. Suddenly, a mental thought rushed into the sea of consciousness. It was a blurry scene, a bustling street, where a sinister young man suddenly appeared in front of the Yang residence. The martial artist guarding the entrance seemed completely unaware of the young man's arrival, allowing him to enter the Yang residence unobstructed. Soon, an imperceptible glow emerged, causing the martial artist to freeze in place, then smile and slowly fall to the ground. At this point, the scene stopped. However, Lu Yin noticed that the young man had glanced in this direction. No, he had glanced at this little black dog. For some reason, he did not harm the dog. This person is using illusions or spiritual power to kill. It's hard to gauge his strength, but considering the size of Plate City, he only killed the Yang family and none of the other citizens. He didn't even harm a dog, so it's very likely that he was seeking revenge. Seeking revenge is justified, and I don't seem to have an excuse to intervene. Shaking his head slightly, Lu Yin disappeared into the streets. The little black dog, holding 100-year-old spirit herb in its mouth, waggled its tail nonstop as it watched the figure gradually disappearing from the street. "Little Black, how did you get to this place again? You made me look for you for so long." Accompanied by a light, agile voice, a little girl in an apricot yellow skirt ran over and picked up the little black dog in her arms. "Ha! Isn't this enlightenment grass?" The little girl looked at the half-eaten spirit herb in the black dog's mouth, then hesitated, her eyes turning to the Yang family's courtyard inside the gate. She hurriedly took the little black dog and left. Half a month later, outside a huge city in the Scarlet Moon Demon Domain, Everywhere you looked, there were endless city walls and crisscrossing rivers. This place used to be a very glorious, huge city in the Scarlet Moon demon domain, with a population and prosperity level enough to rank in the top 10. At this moment, there was no sign of life, making this huge city look desolate. As the setting sun stretched shadows long, Lu Yin stepped towards the huge city. He crossed the moat and came directly under the magnificent city gate. He looked up and saw several large characters written in a dragon and phoenix script on the gate. Dragon Lake City. Dragon Lake City was an independent city equivalent to a sect on its own. It was said that the city lord of Dragon Lake City was a powerful golden core realm cultivator, which allowed him to occupy the city alone. However, several months ago, just when the Mori Jin Demon Suppression Army invaded the Scarlet Moon Demon Domain, Dragon Lake City was suddenly attacked by an unknown force. The city's millions of inhabitants disappeared without a trace, and even the Golden Core Realm City, Lord of Dragon Lake City, did not survive. This was a very strange incident. Some powerful individuals from the Demon Suppression Army had come to investigate, but they never returned. Chapter 5:20 Dragon Lake City. Duga Shanxian understood too gradually. It caught the attention of the higher-ups of the Demon Suppression Army, who even sent a heavenly-level demon extermination general to investigate personally. But undoubtedly, the Golden Core Realm Cultivator also lost contact. And that heavenly-level demon extermination general was none other than Duga Shanxian. Once on the battlefield, Lu Yin was attacked by Sect Master Yin Wujia of the Netherworld Sect and was suppressed by the Netherworld Gate. It was Duga Shanxian who came to his aid, allowing Lu Yin to escape. Lu Yin has always remembered such kindness, so he abandoned his mental training right away when he received the news from Duga Yuan and came to Dragon Lake City. Duga Shanxian and the Demon Suppression Army have lost contact for 2 days now. It's likely a bad situation. I must hurry. As his finger, containing immense power, landed on the city wall, a powerful shield was immediately activated. It seems that the culprit causing changes in Dragon Lake City is still here. Lu Yun muttered quietly. Boom! With a slight clench of his fist, a roar in the void resounded. Within Lu Yun's body, a terrifying power condensed, as if one punch could shatter the void before him. With the strength of my current physical body, I can suppress even a late-stag Golden Core Realm expert, so a mere shield couldn't possibly stop me. Lu Yun's eyes shone brightly, and immediately the 35 imperishable golden bones within him were activated, and the explosive force was released. Asterisk crack. Asterisk at that moment, the barrier enveloping the city wall and covering the sky and earth was shattered. The powerful aftermath caused the huge city to sway and the moat to surge with waves. Lu Yun's eyes suddenly sparkled as he looked towards the end of the city gate. Boom! 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 The ground rumbled, and an endless stream of blazing heat converged. Amidst that enormous fireball, there was an extremely sinister and dark aura. With these two extreme attributes combined, Lu Yun slightly frowned. And more importantly, Lu Yun noticed a familiar figure within that fireball. Duga Shanxian? With a flash in his eyes, Lu Yun immediately guessed the other's identity. However, Duga Shanxian's current state was quite unnatural and far from normal. Gone were the days of his domineering prowess, replaced by rigidity and sinisterness. Kill! The moment Duga Shanxian saw Lu Yin, he uttered a cold word from his mouth, releasing an explosive killing intent. The sea of fire that enveloped his body spread at an incredibly fast pace, attacking Lu Yin. This powerful flame greatly exceeded the might of 7th rank White Lotus Flame. Even an 8th stage White Lotus Flame would be inferior in terms of power and explosiveness. And within this flame, there was a sinister and dark force. This force was faintly familiar to Lu Yin. He seemed to have encountered it somewhere before, but he could not remember the specific time or place. Sky lion shaking the sky. With a squint of his eyes, Lu Yin looked at the terrifying incoming sea of fire. He swung his arm, and a powerful force erupted, shattering the sea of fire. A cultivator at the early stage of the Golden Core realm was practically nothing to the current Lu Yin. To prevent any harm to Dugashanxian, Lu Yin merely used less than 30% of his strength. However, the result was somewhat unexpected for Lu Yin. This punch did not have any effect on Dugashanxian and barely managed to break his attack. His strength has increased, reaching the mid-stage of the Golden Core realm. Surprise flashed in Lu Yun's eyes. Although he didn't know much about Dugashanxian, he knew that he was similar to Duga Yuan. It wasn't easy for an early-stage Golden Core realm cultivator to advance to the mid-stage Golden Core realm. Without a great fortune, it is absolutely impossible to break through within a few years or even more than a decade. Now, in this battle, the opponent's strength is definitely not as simple as the early stage of the Golden Core realm, even compared to Mo Wuzong. It's not much weaker. At the moment when Lu Yin was surprised, a flaming long knife had already appeared in Dugu Shangshuan's hand, and the scorching flame ripped through the sky, bringing with it a howling sound, slashing horizontally. Lu Yin concentrated his mind, and then urged the imperishable golden bones on his arms to grab the terrifying flame-long knife, and then pointed at Dugu Shangshuan's eyebrows to forcibly stop him and investigate the situation. However, just as Lu Yin's spiritual power was about to invade Dugu Shangshuan's sea of consciousness, it was suddenly repelled by a powerful spiritual force. Following that, Dugu Shanshan became even more ruthless, and the sinister and dark power surrounding him began to increase. Damn it! Has he been controlled by someone? Lu Yin was angry and shocked at the same time. Dugu Shanshan, a dignified Golden Core realm powerhouse, a cultivator of martial arts while almost standing at the pinnacle of the martial arts pyramid, was actually controlled by someone whose strength had reached an incredibly terrifying level. Die. Dugu Shangshuan's gaze suddenly became sharp, and he no longer appeared dull. Over 80 runes, filled with a massive amount of law aura, were added to the flame-long knife, attacking Lu Yin. Chi chi chi. The towering city wall collapsed with a bang. Countless surrounding buildings turned into dust, and in the end, all that remained was the earth-shattering long knife and the endless sea of fire. Looking at the crazy Dugu Shanshan, Lu Yin had a bad taste in his heart. The other party had shown kindness to him in the past, but now he found himself in such a situation, which filled his heart with sympathy. However, he absolutely couldn't let this madness continue. Otherwise, when his potential was completely exhausted, his downfall would come. Forcing his strength to the late stage of the Golden Core realm was a huge consumption for Dugu Shangshuan's physical body. I can only wrong you for a while. As he spoke, he transformed into a purple bolt of lightning and rushed over. With a bang, Lu Yin's aura became stronger. He threw a punch wrapped in a torrential divine might and smashed it towards Dugu Shanshan. At this time, Dugu Shanshan had no scruples about stimulating his potential, and his strength was approaching the late Golden Core realm. Lu Yin dared not be too reserved. Additionally, without hurting his foundation, he tried his best to subdue him as soon as possible, and he had to bring out his full strength. Dugu Shangshuan's scarlet eyes glowed brighter, revealing a glimmer of fierceness. He did not avoid the attack, but instead approached, his whole body burning with a scorching flame that seemed to scorch the void. His long knife was covered in runes, and the aura of laws was as vast as an ocean. I'm sorry. Lu Yun's fist, containing the imperishable golden bones, fell heavily, slashing the flame-long knife away and sweeping his fist with terrifying residual power towards Dugu Shangshuan's body. Crack! The sound of bones rattling was deafening, and the hand holding the knife suddenly drooped down. Dugu Shanshan flew backwards through the air, and then Lu Yin transformed into a purple lightning and chased after him, pointing again at his eyebrows, only to be blocked by his single arm. Following that, Dugu Shanxian rotated his body, swinging his legs continuously, kicking at Lu Yun. His legs were like an endless phantom, blood red in color, with flames surging around, aiming only at Lu Yun's vital points. Lu Yun flipped his body, stepped on the air, and flew over like a shooting star. He stomped on Dugu Shanxian with a foot from midair, knocking him heavily onto the ground, creating a gigantic crater. Suppress! With a low shout from Lu Yun, a black light refracted from his feet, and the netherworld gate turned into a huge doorway, quickly suppressing Dugu Shanxian. As the netherworld gate appeared, the void shuddered, and the entire city seemed to explode. The netherworld gate was of an incredibly high level, close to a mid-level treasure artifact. With the support of the 7-color stone, it could almost rival top-grade treasures, and its suppressing power was unimaginable. Dugu Shanxian tried to stand up, but under the powerful suppression of the netherworld gate, he couldn't succeed. Instead, he sank deeper and deeper into the ground. Lu Yun slowly landed and walked towards Dugu Shanxian, who was suppressed to the ground. Looking at his ferocious face and trembling body, Lu Yun flicked his finger, and a golden rune flew out, landing on Dugu Shangshuan's body. Let me see who it is that has controlled you. Lu Yun once again pointed at Dugu Shangshuan's eyebrows. Chapter 521. Recasting the demonic body. Late stage of the Golden Core realm, there are many means available to martial arts experts, and Lu Yun is afraid that the other party might control Dugu Shanxian and make irrational decisions, using powerful strength to suppress him. As he points a finger at Dugu Shangshuan's forehead, a powerful martial arts will is about to enter his sea of consciousness, but is blocked by a murky gray force. With a cold snort, the peak of the 3rd rank martial arts will burst forth, forcefully breaking through the blockade and entering deep into the sea of consciousness. Dugu Shangshuan's sea of consciousness is extremely complex, like a vast galaxy, but Lu Yun's target is clear, aiming directly at its vital part. Soon he reaches its core. There, countless black chains are wrapped around a golden light ball. Through those black chains, Lu Yun can see that the golden light ball, which is Dugu Shangshuan's spirit, is locked away. As a matter of fact, his spirit is extremely weak, as if it would lose consciousness and then be completely controlled by someone behind the scenes before too long. Lu Yun unleashes his martial arts will, exerting a strong force on the black chains, causing the sea of consciousness space to shake violently. At this moment, a black-robed figure steps out from above the black chains, his eyes full of anger. I advise you not to meddle in my affairs, or else when the master emerges, I will refine you into a demon slave as well. He is wearing a black robe, possessing a handsome face, with an evil and unfathomable look in his eyes. He stands atop the black chains, exuding an aura of domineering and unrestrained power. Boom! At the moment he appears, the black chains tremble wildly. Demonic power surges from all directions in the sea of consciousness space. Demon slave. Lu Yun frowns, then coldly says, "To refine me into a demon slave, you'll have to see if you even have the ability." As he finishes speaking, the peak of his 3rd rank martial arts will explodes, turning into a powerful heavenly blade, slashing down at those black chains. Just because Dugu Shanxian cannot break free from the control of those chains does not mean that Lu Yun has no way to deal with them. The martial arts will condenses into a sharp blade, tearing everything apart with powerful force, and Lu Yun swiftly shreds the chains one by one. Is that all you've got? It seems your master isn't that powerful after all. Lu Yun unleashes a giant golden hand and slams it down at the black-robed figure. In an instant, the entire world becomes silent as Lu Yun exits Dugu Shangshuan's sea of consciousness. Simultaneously, Dugu Shangshuan's consciousness gradually recovers, regaining control of himself, and begins to devour the residual consciousness remaining in his sea of consciousness. Lu Yin, thank you. Dugu Shanxian struggles to open his eyes and expresses his gratitude to Lu Yin. Although his consciousness was locked in the black chains, he was very clear about everything that happened. Lu Yun waves his hand to signal that he should rest first. About half a quarter of an hour later, when Dugu Shanxian finally gains some strength, Lu Yun directly asks, "Who did you encounter that made you end up like this?" Dugu Shanxian takes a deep breath, still feeling terrified. That guy was too strong. I was no match for him at all. It turns out that after the Demon Suppression Army learned about the situation in Dragon Lake City, several Earth-rank demon extermination generals were sent to investigate, but they soon lost contact. In the end, Dugu Shanxian personally came to investigate the situation. When a heavenly-level demon extermination general takes action, success is almost guaranteed, and that's what Dugu Shanxian thought too. However, when he arrived at Dragon Lake City, he found that the situation was far more complicated than he had imagined. The vast Dragon Lake City had no traces of any battles, and both streets and buildings were intact. The people who used to live in Dragon Lake City, along with other creatures, seemed to have vanished into thin air. Instead of thinking the situation was normal, Dugu Shanxian felt that it was extremely strange. So he went deep into Dragon Lake City to investigate and discovered the cause in the city center. There was a mountain of white bones covering the area. The description of a mountain of bones was not an exaggeration. In the depths of the bone mountain, countless blood and demonic power gathered to form a mysterious and ancient blood pool. In that blood pool, there floated a huge heart that glowed and pulsed rhythmically. Every beat of the heart emitted a strange rhythm that could silently affect people's minds. The inhabitants and creatures of Dragon Lake City were attracted by this pervasive vibration, and then their life force was absorbed by the demonic power. The Earth-rank demon extermination generals who later came to investigate were also affected and perished as a result. As for Dugu Shanxian, being a Golden Core realm expert, he had a martial arts will and was not affected. However, he came too late. Just when he was about to destroy the blood pool and heart, the heart began to revive, absorbing the blood in the pool and forming a new body. Following that, a fierce battle ensued between Dugu Shanxian and the revived being, but it didn't take long for Dugu Shanxian to be critically injured. A heart absorbing blood to revive. Lu Yun whispers to himself. To be able to revive by relying on just one heart seems like an incredible feat that even heavenly human realm experts don't possess. As for his great son, Undying Gold Body, he needs to train it to an extremely high level to achieve a similar outcome. Chapter 5:22 Recasting the Demonic Body. Late stage of the Golden Core Realm _2 after Dugu Shanxian explained the ins and outs of the situation. Lu Yin still had some doubts and tentatively asked, "Then why didn't he completely erase your consciousness?" Dugu Shanxian pondered for a moment, then slowly said, "He wasn't fully awakened because my arrival forced him to revive ahead of schedule, and he didn't reach a perfect state. After hurriedly, gravely injuring me, he sealed my consciousness and controlled my body to guard Dragon Lake City in order to prevent other powerful enemies from coming to disturb it. So he's still in Dragon Lake City." A glint flashed in Lu Yun's eyes. That's right, he's still in that blood pool. Dugu Shanxian saw that Lu Yun seemed somewhat moved, so he said, "The two of us definitely won't be a match for him. It's better to go back and report this situation to the army commanders." Lu Yun shook his head. "It takes at least several days to go back and forth, and by then, the other party might have already left Dragon Lake City. We have to get rid of him quickly before he fully recovers. Otherwise, there will be endless trouble." In fact, based on Dugu Shanxian's words, he had inferred that the other party's strength shouldn't be much stronger than the Golden Core Realm late stage. Otherwise, even if he was interested in the opponent, he wouldn't dare to take such a risk. "Lu Yin, don't take such risks. That guy's power is just too terrifying." Dugu Shanxian looked fearfully and warily at the depths of Dragon Lake City, then said, "We should hurry up and leave. If we're discovered by him, We won't be able to escape even if we want to. Seeing Dugu Shangshuan's fearful and wary expression, Lu Yin really wanted to say that the opponent was powerful, but only in comparison to him. As for me, it's not that big of a deal. Hey race, what well do? I'll stay here and watch, keeping the enemy from escaping. General Dugu, you go back first and report the situation here to the various army commanders. Lu Yin looked at Dugu Shanxian, knowing that he couldn't change Lu Yin's mind. Dugu Shanxian reluctantly agreed. He knew in his heart that it was not very likely for him to persuade Lu Yin to leave with him. If it weren't for his severe injuries and lack of combat strength, he would stay and face danger together with Lu Yin. After all, he owed his life to Lu Yin. However, now that he was in such a state, with his strength at its lowest point, staying would only drag Lu Yin down. The best choice was to leave as soon as possible and seek help. With some unease, Dugu Shanxian instructed, I'll go seek help now, but Lu Yin, you have to promise me not to enter rashly. Don't worry, I won't gamble with my own safety. Lu Yin nodded in response. Half a quarter of an hour later, Lu Yin headed towards the center of Dragon Lake City. Just as Dugu Shanxian had said, the place was full of bones, emitting a strong demonic power, giving people an extremely uncomfortable feeling. This demonic power is somewhat similar to the power in the Blood Slaughter Secret Realm, but not exactly the same. Lu Yun's eyes were mysterious and majestic, full of faint golden light intertwined with dazzling runes, as if piercing through everything, staring directly at the depths, emitting a strong demonic power. In that direction, Lu Yin's eyes suddenly narrowed, and then his body shuddered slightly. In the depths of the densely packed bones, thick demonic power converged, and a blood-red evil chi enveloped a bright, red blood pool. And in the blood pool, there was a naked young man sitting cross-legged, barely visible. Countless sword essence, blood, and demonic power gathered at his dantian, being refined and absorbed by him. Lu Yin quickly moved in that direction, and as he was about to approach, he noticed that the young man's eyes seemed to move slightly, and then the speed of refining the essence blood increased greatly, making the surrounding demonic aura more intense. Let me see who you really are. Lu Yin's eyes showed a hint of doubt. Immediately, he flashed to the sky above the blood pool and used all his strength to gather on his fist, striking it out. Boom! Powerful force erupted, like earth-shattering, and the layer of blood-fiendish force shield surrounding the blood pool instantly collapsed. The scorching power evaporated the blood pool in an instant, and the powerful force was completely blasted onto the young man. However, in just a fraction of a breath, the young man's eyes opened wide, and his body flickered before disappearing from the blood pool. Although I went through some hardships along the way, I finally managed to condense a decent demonic body. The black-robed young man stood firmly in the void, flexing his limbs before turning his gaze to Lu Yin. It's you. He was no stranger to Lu Yin. He had once encountered a golden body realm lad just after he had reincarnated through possession, and was forced to crush an extremely expensive spatial talisman to escape. Unexpectedly, in just over half a year, the other party had advanced from the peak of the Golden Body Realm to the peak of the Rune Seed Realm, raising their level by a whole realm. As the black-robed youth observed Lu Yin was also observing him. I'm curious. I feel a sense of familiarity with you. But no matter how much I search my memory, I can't find any memories about you. Having said that, Lu Yin didn't wait for the other party to answer and continued, In my feeling, we should have met and even fought before. The black-robed youth's pupils flashed with black light, and his face transformed into another appearance. The crimson pupils, the handsome face, combined with the rich demonic power in his body, quickly merged with a figure in Lu Yun's mind. So it's you, the defeated loser. Lu Yun's face turned cold, the killing intent revealed. I let you escape by a fluke last time, but this time you have no chance. Ha ha ha. Well, you are the first one who dares to speak like this with me. Han Feng laughed loudly, his laughter filled with an extreme chill. He was a magnificent demon venerable, but he was completely defenseless against a mere golden body realm opponent. This was undoubtedly a disgrace to him. Now that he has recast his demonic body, he must regain his lost honor, or he would be unworthy of his title as the demon venerable. As Han Feng's last words fell, the atmosphere became completely quiet. The two stood opposite each other, their hands folded. There was no visible movement, but the surrounding flow of air gradually solidified. In an instant, everything seemed to be frozen. In Han Feng's profound black and white eyes, there was a crimson color, giving a strange and sinister feeling. Within those mysterious and deep eyes, it seemed like everything would sink. In Lu Yun's eyes, a purple thunderbolt appeared. Then, in an instant, a shocking thunderclap exploded, directly bombarding Han Feng in front of him. At the same time, a black light emerged from Han Feng's brow, colliding with the thunderbolt light. In a flash, a fierce fluctuation came from the sky above Dragon Lake City, accompanied by the birth of this dazzling light. Han Feng took a step forward. The aura around him suddenly escalated. His realm rose from nothing to something. Origin Fluid Realm, Golden Body Realm, Early Rune Seed Realm, Perfection of Rune Seed Realm. Still not stopping there. Early Golden Core Realm, Mid Golden Core Realm, and then Late Golden Core Realm. Rich, demonic power and vast laws surrounded. Han Feng's profound gaze fell on Lu Yun fiercely. It was a condescending gaze with a contemptuous look, like a god looking down on commoners. Now that I've rebuilt my demonic body, my strength is incomparable to the past. Killing you would be like killing an ant. With that said, Han Feng reached out his hand. A pitch-black palm filled with dense demonic power slapped towards Lu Yun. The powerful air currents crushed in all directions, and the void trembled violently under the attack. This palm's might was probably no less than the full force of a peak Golden Core Realm expert. Just a defeated loser from the past. Lu Yun took a step forward, and the momentum around his body exploded. With all the fluctuations dispersed, he slashed out with his sword. Heaven and Earth Draw Saber Slash. Against such a powerful enemy, he held nothing back. The moment he made a move, it was a second-level divine ability. Seeing the sword, Han Feng's original contemptuous gaze suddenly changed. You've actually advanced your divine ability to the second level. Chapter 5:23. Pursuing 1,000,000 miles after the appearance of Heaven and Earth Draw Saber Slash, Han Feng knew that he was not the only one whose strength had significantly increased during this period. However, he quickly calmed his mind, and his sturdy demon body propelled an inexhaustible and terrifying demonic force with a palm push. The collision of the two forces caused a violent explosion in the void, inciting a strong fluctuation that violently distorted the light. Ultimately, in more powerful collisions, everything crumbled and collapsed. Despite his unsuccessful strike, Lu Yun didn't stop. He stepped forward, displayed his spatial conception ability, Instant Horizon, and instantly disappeared from his original position. After the upgrade of his spatial conception to the 8th stage, Lu Yun could execute Instant Horizon more proficiently, achieving command at will. In the next moment, he reappeared behind Han Feng and struck with a saber slash. Han Feng perceived it early on, turned his demon body filled with demonic qi and slapped back with palm. Bang, bang, bang. Lu Yun's blade slightly shuddered, and the force of the recoil caused him to retreat several tens of feet into the void. As for Han Feng, the demonic force enveloping his hand was cut open. Blood was flowing, and it scattered strong power in the void. It felt heavy as a boulder, and a loud, rumbling noise arose when it fell to the ground. However, the wound soon healed under the influence of the demonic force. Nevertheless, the shock on his face intensified. Lu Yun's attack actually broke through his defense. Little did he know that since his rebirth as a demon, his strength was far beyond what a golden core realm cultivator could reach. Even those who specialized in physical training are inferior to his demon body in terms of physical strength. But Lu Yun's earlier slash surprised Han Feng as he discovered his demon body wasn't as invincible as he once thought. The more he battled, the more astonished he became, and his expression became even more serious. He discovered Lu Yun not only had an exceptional saber technique, but his frightening physical strength even surpassed the power of his demon body. Boom! Again, a god-devouring, demon-slaying saber slashed down. The alarming saber intent exploded, bringing about an aura of destruction and pouring out overwhelming power. Han Feng could no longer afford to hold back any strength. At the Galabella, a vertical eye appeared suddenly. It emitted a dense red light and clashed with the incoming saber light. In an instant, the red light shattered and Han Feng was flung back in the void. An enormous amount of demonic qi burst out, transforming into a terrifying phantom of a demon venerable. He summoned the demonic qi and killing intent from all over the sky and landed a punch that displayed earth-shaking power. The two forces, which could easily annihilate a golden core realm, canceled each other out in the void. After the unsuccessful strike, Lu Yun still stepped forward in the air, used the strength of his 30 newly refined, imperishable golden bones to launch a more formidable attack. After being suppressed consecutively, Han Feng felt annoyed but had no choice but to put forth every possible effort to defend. His demon body was renowned for its enormous physical strength. However, he couldn't suppress Lu Yun with his physical strength alone and had to mobilize the demonic force within his body and the scary evil qi in the sky above Dragon Lake City to engage Lu Yun in a battle to the death. Boom! 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 Boom bang bang! In the sky above the giant city devoid of any life force, those two incredibly potent figures kept colliding. Every collision could easily tear apart mountains and cut off rivers. The buildings in Dragon Lake City and the surrounding rivers and mountains were all destroyed by their powerful residual waves, kicking up dust everywhere. The brutal and destructive forces enveloped an area with a radius of several thousand li. Even from a great distance, you could still feel the ferocity of their battle. Dugu Shanxian felt the strong fluctuations from behind and turned to take a serious look. So he didn't heed my advice and provoked that fearsome guy. However, the powerful fluctuations triggered suggest that his strength is much more formidable than I had imagined. Dugu Shanxian had never underestimated Lu Yun's strength from the get-go. He even thought that Lu Yun was slightly better than himself, and he could compare with the late-stage Golden Core realm. Even so, he never held high expectations for Lu Yun. However, from the giant war fluctuation and the formidable aura coming from the direction of Dragon Lake City, it seems that Lu Yun is very strong, strong enough to make one's heart tremble. While Lu Yun is very strong, it will be difficult, if not impossible, for him to defeat the opponent. I need to hurry up. At this thought, Dugu Shanxian immediately sped up, turning into a ray of very fast light that streaked across the sky. Boom bang bang, the dreadfully stirring turbulence. The center of their skirmish has been entirely obliterated, making phrases like moving mountains and overturning seas, or heaven and earth turning upside down as fitting descriptions. The more Lu Yun battled, the more vigorous he became, controlling his newly refined, imperishable golden bones to an even more terrifying extent. Though he suffered quite a bit of damage, the powerful vitality emanating from the imperishable golden bones quickly helped him recover. As for Han Feng, he now looked rather miserable. Most of the demonic armor covering his body had shattered into pieces. And even though his demon body possessed a powerful self-healing ability, it failed to recover from some injuries in time. Moreover, each of Lu Yun's attacks dealt him massive damage, increasing the severity of his injuries. From his perspective, while Lu Yun's saber technique and power were impressive, they couldn't pose a significant threat due to the formidable self-healing and recovery abilities of his demon body. However, there was something peculiar about Lu Yun's saber, which was barley of lower-grade treasure level. But when he executed his saber technique and divine ability, it exhibited a hint of a destructive power. This destructive power was the reason his demon body couldn't withstand. Chapter 524. Pursuing 1,000,000 miles _2 after another intense battle, Han Feng gradually regained his consciousness. He realized that Lu Yun's growth was incredibly fast, so fast that even if he rebuilt his demon body, he still could not erase the disgrace of the past. Continuing to fight would only result in mutual damage. Moreover, it would only attract more powerful people to the scene, putting him in an even more disadvantageous situation. Just as he was about to retreat, Lu Yun had already combined the rune seed, the indestructible golden bone martial Dao will, and the demon-slaying, god-killing saber, transforming them into a powerful strike. The sudden burst of energy caused Han Feng's flesh to rupture, and he was instantly cut off one of his arms and flung through the air. Right after that, Lu Yun reinforced the Netherworld Gate with the 7-color stone and pressed it down fiercely from the void. The terrifying suppression force and the destructive power caused the heaven and earth to tremble slightly. Not good. Han Feng's face changed as blood appeared in his eyes, and the vertical eye at his forehead released a red light that struck the descending Netherworld Gate. Then his figure turned into a black streak of light and quickly flew away into the distance. On the other side, the Netherworld Gate transformed into a colossal portal that descended and crushed everything beneath it with its immense force. Seeing the empty void and the quickly disappearing Han Feng, Lu Yun did not immediately pursue him. Although he appeared to be very powerful in the battle with Han Feng, his own consumption was also huge. He couldn't use his second-level divine ability too many times with his current understanding of the rules. Additionally, using his martial arts had caused him to suffer severe energy depletion. The vital energy within the indestructible golden bones had been depleted too much, and the recovery speed was much slower compared to the beginning. What's his origin? His strength has grown so fast that it's hardly slower than mine. If it weren't for the support of my interface, I'm afraid I'd be grounded by the pressure. He is really too mysterious. If possible, it would be best to keep him here. Lu Yun's eyes were deep, and then he used the instant horizon divine ability to catch up. In a mountain range, Han Feng's severed arm had already been restored, and all visible injuries had healed on the surface. However, this was just on the surface, and his actual exhaustion was enormous. His demon body had just been recast, and having experienced heavy damage and used a huge amount of life force to restore his severed arm, his condition had worsened, not to mention his combat strength, which had dropped to less than 70%. Damn it, he caught up so quickly. Sensing the violent fluctuations coming from behind, Han Feng didn't dare to delay any longer, immediately changing directions and fleeing once again. Upon reaching a vast lake, strange creatures leaped out of the water. Han Feng opened his mouth wide, swallowing numerous fish and absorbing their life force, improving his moribund state. He looked up at the sky behind him, seeing the indifferent Lu Yun slash down with a saber from midair. Rumble! The saber's light tore through the sky, cutting Han Feng's afterimage in half. The vast lake water surged wildly in both directions, and a huge chasm filled with terrifying saber chi appeared in the middle of the lake. Does he really think he can exhaust me to death? If that's the case, he's underestimating me. After avoiding Lu Yun's sudden strike, Han Feng's cold voice rang out as he transformed into a black streak of light and quickly disappeared in place. However, Lu Yun, who followed closely behind him like a persistent ghost, caught up with him no matter where he went, no matter how fast he moved. This man has such incredible fortune, constantly upgrading 2 divine abilities to the 2nd level, and even mastering an instant movement divine ability. Han Feng's face looked terrible, and by now he had to admit that Lu Yun was a tough opponent. Moreover, the ability to use an instant movement divine skill without any limitations was unheard of. Even for him who had cultivated for hundreds of years, He had never seen it before. Without overthinking it, he stood in the void and activated his divine ability before Lu Yun's attack reached him. Immediately after, terrifying runes spread across hundreds of miles within the range of the mountains, causing all the birds and beasts in the area to explode. Their blood and vital energy were attracted towards him and converged onto his body. As the fresh blood and vitality flowed into him, the injuries on his demon body were restored once again. This scene was seen by Lu Yun down to the tiniest detail. All he could do was to strike with his saber. An earth-shattering saber strike fell. As expected, it was once again dodged by the opponent. Knowing that his pursuit was fruitless, Lu Yun still showed no signs of giving up. With a single step, he had disappeared again in place. This time, he didn't give the other party a chance to use his divine ability to devour the life force of living beings, unleashing the heaven and earth draw saber slash as soon as he appeared. Damn it! For the first time, Han Feng cursed under his breath. He had never felt so suffocated before. In his mind, he thought that after reshaping his demonic body, the living beings in this world would be at his mercy for him to plunder. But he had encountered such a freak like Lu Yun, who not only could not be defeated, but also could not be escaped from. He always stuck to him like a dogskin plaster and wouldn't let go. Moreover, from time to time, he would use his earth-shaking saber technique to interrupt his divine ability, which was truly infuriating. He desperately wished he could stop and use a self-mutilating method to fight him to the death. However, the situation was stronger than the person. He faintly sensed that, apart from Lu Yun behind him, there was an even more powerful breath approaching this place. That breath, even compared to his peak period, was not much weaker. At least it was an existence that had comprehended 5 or more rules. The goal of that powerhouse should also be me. Han Feng took a deep breath. Then his demonic body trembled, and his demonic power boiled. Behind his arms, 2 black flesh tendrils, emitting powerful demonic energy, began to extend. These 2 demon-energized flesh tendrils rapidly extended, forming a pair of black wings. After growing these demon wings, his breath weakened, and his expression became even darker. Fortunately, I absorbed some of the life force of living beings earlier. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to use these dark demon wings. Feeling slightly relieved, he shook his wings, and the black light he transformed into suddenly increased in speed by more than 5 times, rapidly flying away from the Scarlet Moon demon domain. Lu Yun, who was behind him, was surprised by the sudden increase in his opponent's speed, but he soon returned to normal. It was only natural for someone who could revive himself with just a heart to have other life-saving means. It won't be long before entering the territory of the 9 Nether Demon sect. Should I continue chasing? Lu Yun hesitated for a moment, then seemed to have discovered something and glanced back. This breath is so bold and upright. Could it be Gong Sun Zhong Hong? But immediately Lu Yun shook his head. He had only caught a glimpse of Gong Sun Zhong Hong from afar, knowing that his strength was terrifying, but it could not make him feel palpitations from tens of thousands of miles away. Is this powerhouse coming for me or for the demon head in front? As Lu Yun hesitated, he felt a slight tremble in the identity token on his waist. Lu Yun Dugashanxian has reported the matter to the first vice commander, and he immediately set out after hearing about the situation. You must stop that demon head. The one who passed the message to Lu Yun was none other than Wei Tianluan, the first vice commander. Dongfang Yu? Lu Yun understood immediately who was responsible for the powerful breath coming towards him. With that, he no longer hesitated, and after using Instant Horizon several times in a row, he caught up with Han Feng just as they entered the 9 Nether Demon territory. Under the shining void, Han Feng's black, demonic wings trembled behind him. His eyes flickered with a crimson light, and he looked coldly at Lu Yun, who appeared in front of him, saying coldly, "You can't do anything to me. Why are you so persistent? I don't like leaving hidden dangers." As Lu Yun's cold voice fell, what followed was a terrifying slash that tore through the space's rift. Seeing such a smooth and effortless earth-shattering slash, Han Feng's shock deepened. He could feel that in just a few days, Lu Yun's strength had increased again. "I told you, you can't do anything to me," he coldly shouted. The black, demonic wings shook, countless runes spread out, and laws intertwined, turning into 9 black rays of light. Then they saw the 9 black rays of light overlap and form a black arc-shaped blade, colliding heavily with the earth-shattering saber-chi. In an instant, the sky broke and the earth cracked, the void trembled, and the residual waves swept hundreds of miles around. By the order of the Mori Jin Demon Suppression Army's Demon Extermination General, kill without mercy. At this moment, a cold voice suddenly exploded in the void. Chapter 525. Vice Head of 9 Nether Demon, Sect 9, Nether Demon Territory. Lu Yun stood silently, runes surging all over his body. One could see rune after rune appearing, emitting vast laws as they intertwined in the air. At this moment, his entire body was radiating a golden light. It seemed as if he had transformed into an immortal sun, emitting intense heat and golden light. It was the law in turbulence, operating to its fullest extent and releasing its maximum power. Boom! Suddenly, flames illuminated the horizon, sweeping across the sky and scorched the void into brilliant brightness. The dim light emitted by the stars paled in comparison. Crimson Flame Demon Fist. The voice from earlier sounded again. In an instant, a figure appeared in the void, shrouded in endless black flames and exuding a powerful aura. The next moment, he threw a punch at Lu Yun, like a volcano descending. It could annihilate half of the void. The flame's breath was extremely violent, and the fist wind was even more overbearing. The spreading momentum alone was enough to send chills down one's spine. Lu Yun frowned slightly, extending a big hand. The divine power within his imperishable golden bones and the runes on his superior rune seed burst simultaneously. A punch transformed into a golden heavenly lion that quickly enlarged, its body flashing with intense brightness runes, suppressing all enemies in the world. Boom! A vast, ocean-like ripple exploded, making the entire sky shake. The air currents in the void continuously trembled, emitting cracking noises. "Leave the 9 Nether Demon Territory quickly, or I'll make sure you die here," said the man enveloped in flames, releasing a powerful ripple that wreaked havoc all around. Even though it was just a flame figure, the surging blood and overwhelming power made it resemble a true flame giant, causing incredible pressure on others. Just when Lu Yun was about to assassinate the enemy, he was ambushed and threatened. His face immediately darkened. "I advise you not to meddle in other people's business, or you will be the one who dies," said Lu Yun indifferently, exuding an aura of silence and murder. From their previous exchange, Lu Yun didn't find himself at a disadvantage and wasn't afraid of his opponent. The man in the flames appeared very confident, staring at Lu Yun, and said lightly, "Do you really think I can't kill you? If I hadn't restrained my strength just now, you would have been a corpse." As he spoke, the heavens and earth trembled. The surrounding void revealed a faint cave heaven with countless flames rising and emitting a breathtaking aura. "Leave the 9 Nether Demon Territory immediately, or I'll make sure you die here," he repeated. A heavenly human expert. Lu Yun's pupils shrank, not expecting the man to be at the heavenly human realm. However, the man did not want to hurt Lu Yun, proving his hesitation. There was only one reason that could make a heavenly human expert hesitate. It must be Dongfang Yu, who had arrived and was hiding in the surrounding void. Thinking of this, Lu Yun's lips curled slightly. He settled his shock and said indifferently, "No one can stop my demon suppression army from capturing who we want, even if you are at the heavenly human realm." The man in the flames trembled, and within his cave heaven, The flames flickered as if ready to erupt at any moment. However, it soon subsided. He looked towards the void above Lu Yin and said, "Dongfang Yu, since you have arrived, why not reveal yourself?" Suddenly, a golden light shot out from the void. The sound of metal clanking echoed as runes transformed into order chains, shaking the void. Seeing the sudden change in the situation, Han Feng's heart felt uneasy. He dared not to stay any longer. With a flap of his wings, he turned into a rainbow light and continued fleeing. The golden rune order chain violently shook and then extended rapidly, quickly sealing off the fleeing Han Feng. No one expected Dongfang Yu to take action against Han Feng without revealing himself. "Dongfang Yu, you've gone too far!" exclaimed the flaming figure, who looked like a monarch, staring over everything. As he raised his hand, a divine ability manifested, like the eruption of magma from hell, creating a terrifying power that shook the world. With a violent collision, a storm spread, causing shock and terror. Lu Yin, even after releasing the power of his imperishable golden bones, struggled to maintain himself, but was still blown away by the powerful pressure. This showdown came unexpectedly, and the battle was intense. Flames danced and twisted the void, but the golden rune order chain extending from the void was terrifying and indestructible. Ignoring the flame figure's divine ability, two chains directly wrapped around Han Feng's body. Boom! With just one strike, Han Feng felt his recently rebuilt demonic body on the verge of collapsing. He knew that even the flame figure alone could not save him. With a sigh, he reached out and released a long, white river that shimmered with a crystal luster hanging across the sky. It blocked another rune order chain, emitting a powerful ripple. A booming sound erupted as the order chains collided with the white river, creating cracking noises. Clearly, the formidable order chains couldn't break through the river's defense. The white, crystal luster disappeared, revealing its true form, a foot-long silk ribbon. Lu Yin's gaze fell upon the ribbon, revealing a burning desire in his eyes. The silk ribbon's ability to block an attack from Dongfang Yu, a heavenly human realm expert, proved its extraordinary nature. It was at least a treasure artifact, or perhaps even of a higher grade. Chapter 526. Vice Head of 9 Nether Demon Sect, Tu Chi Chi Chi. In the chaotic void of the fierce battle, 3 more rune order chains shot through the fiery blockade and aimed straight at the disoriented Han Feng. After several collisions, the white silk ribbon was finally sent flying, and Han Feng spewed out more demon blood. "Dongfang Yu, do you have to be so overbearing?" The flame man's voice was cold, and his murderous intent swelled in his heart. In response, a faint voice replied, "No one can stop the Demon Suppression Army from capturing our target. This is the territory of our 9 Nether Demon Sect. Although the Mori Jin Demon Suppression Army is powerful, your reach doesn't extend here." A cold, eerie voice echoed as a bloody light shot out from the void, emitting shocking fluctuations that severed the indestructible rune chains and allowed Han Feng to escape. The blood light flickered and the void trembled. A middle-aged man dressed in a blood robe appeared, standing in the void, his gaze coldly fixed on Dongfang Yu. Dongfang Yu huffed coldly, but didn't take any more action at this moment. Instead, he showed himself in the void, revealing a domineering man exuding an intense, murderous aura, his long black hair dancing in the windless air and deep eyes reflecting a captivating light. "Dongfang Yu, I urge you to retreat now, or else this will be seen as a declaration of war between the Demon Suppression Army and the 9 Nether Demon Sect." The man in the blood robe descended beside the flame man, emanating a powerful aura as he coldly stared at Dongfang Yu, subtly shielding Han Feng behind him to prevent a sudden sneak attack. "There are 2 celestial human masters here, and more might come. What will Dongfang Yu do then?" Although Lu Yin was reluctant to let Han Feng go, it seemed infeasible to forcibly capture him with 2 celestial human masters present, especially on 9 Nether Demon sect territory. The demon suppression army isn't afraid of a fight. With runes jumping and rules surging, Dongfang Yu spoke indifferently. Then a flash in his eyes sent a golden light shooting out, emitting an intense roar as it went. The man in the blood robe's expression changed, and his blood robe waved, producing countless blood lights. As they clashed with the golden light, they rapidly disintegrated into dust. It is said that the 9 nether demon sect's deputy sect master is unmatched in strength, placing among the top 5 in the 100 sects. Today, let me see if your strength is as formidable as the rumors say. Boom! Everyone present was shocked, having not expected Dongfang Yu to be so overbearing and initiate an aggressive attack, causing the short-lived tranquility of the void to shatter once more. Dongfang Yu appeared like a domineering and unparalleled general, decisive in his killing. With a single sweep of his hand, 2 divine abilities shot out in tandem, like 2 beams of light traversing the Rule River, creating a storm that engulfed both the Flame Man and the middle-aged man in the blood robe. Observing this scene, the Flame Man had a sinister expression on his face and spoke to the blood-robed, middle-aged man beside him. Deputy Sect Master, Dongfang Yu is going too far. Today we must join forces to kill him, so that the Demon Suppression Army and the 100 sects know that our 9 Nether Demon sect is not so easily provoked. Dongfang Yu has comprehended at least 5 rules. Even if the 2 of us join forces, we could barely defeat him, let alone kill him. The man in the blood robe shook his head slightly. Moreover, the Morijin Demon Suppression Army has finally halted their conquest. We can't provoke them again. I'll hold him off while you take this person and leave first. Without waiting for the Flame Man's response, the middle-aged man in the blood robe had already stepped forward, brandishing a long spear with a resounding shout. Blood light bloomed, resembling a crimson river, surging and shaking the sky with its intense evil chi. Gazing at the sky-filled evil chi from the long spear, Lu Yun's soul trembled. He could sense an incredibly strong threat from the waves emitted from the spear. Although he didn't know the level of this spear, its oppressive aura suggested that it had to be at least a spirit-level weapon. The spear tore through space, spreading the storm of bloodlight in the void and setting off a fierce collision, exchanging blows with Dongfang Yu more than a dozen times in an instant. During this time, the Flame Man's murderous gaze swept over Lu Yun, making him feel as if his hair stood on end. A thought even crossed his mind. Could this guy be planning to attack me? However, the Flame Man eventually withdrew his gaze, picked up the heavily injured Han Feng, and the rising flames around them turned the space around them completely void. When the flames extinguished entirely, the 2 had already vanished from the spot. In the meantime, the battle between Dongfang Yu and the middle-aged man in the blood robe continued in the void, with each of their clashes causing violent tremors. Interwoven rules and pervasive runes emitted dazzling light, covering an area of hundreds of miles. As their fight went on, rule rivers appeared within the void, like clearly demarcated divine rivers colliding and causing terrifying spatial ripples. Faced with such an intense collision, Lu Yun's figure continually retreated. He was afraid that the fluctuations caused by the battle between the 2 would accidentally hurt him. Those endless rule rivers made even the void slightly unbearable, and Lu Yun didn't believe his body, which had only refined more than 30 imperishable golden bones, could withstand it. It wasn't until he flew thousands of miles away that Lu Yun felt safe. At the same time, at the edge of the sky, several powerful celestial humans showed grave expressions. I didn't expect that even Ji Ming reached the 6th level of celestial human realm. The rise of 9 Nether Demon sect is unstoppable. Ji Ming, also known as the man in the blood robe, was the deputy sect master of the 9 Nether Demon sect. According to their understanding 100 years ago, he had just broken through to celestial human realm. In such a short time, he had successively comprehended 5 roles and reached the 6th level of celestial human realm. With such power, Among the 100 sects, no one could suppress him except the sect master of the 9 nether demon sect, Heavenly Mystery Sword sect, and Green Cloud sect. We need to reconsider the threat of the 9 nether demon sect. One of the celestial humans quickly made a judgment. Lu Yun sat cross-legged in the void, refining the imperishable golden bones in his body with the help of a huge number of spirit crystals, and occasionally glanced at the void in the distance. The collision of rural rivers caused large-scale ripples in the void from time to time. It lasted for several hours before it ended. Dongfang Yu, if you don't leave the 9 nether demon sect's territory within an hour, the sect master will personally take action. A slightly threatening voice fell from the void, and then Ji Ming's body flashed with blood, disappearing into the void. Dongfang Yu's eyes had divine light bursting, and his fighting spirit was overwhelming, looking somewhat defeated. However, he ultimately didn't chase after him and simply let him leave. Ji Ming was right. This was the 9 nether demon territory, the territory of the 9 nether demon sect. It was not yet time for a war with the 9 nether demon sect. He had rashly entered their territory and fought the deputy sect master openly. Given the situation, the 9 nether demon sect master had shown extreme restraint by not appearing. Of course, the key point was that he was not confident in defeating the 9 nether demon sect master. With a flash, Dongfang Yu disappeared in place and appeared beside Lu Yun thousands of miles away. Lu Yun, staying in the 9 nether demon territory may provoke them to kill you. Come with me. Upon hearing this, Lu Yun nodded slightly. Dongfang Yu was right. If he continued to stay in the 9 nether demon territory, he would inevitably be attacked and killed by the 9 nether demon sect, and attackers would at least be celestial human experts. Moreover, if Dongfang Yu hadn't appeared in time, he would have been slain by the Man of Flames. Although he had been suppressing Han Feng and showed impressive strength, it was nothing in front of celestial humans. Let's go. Dongfang Yu, along with Lu Yin, turned into a streak of light and quickly disappeared into the sky. The speed of celestial humans was terrifying, not a bit slower than Lu Yun's instant horizon. In just half a day, Dongfang Yu brought Lu Yun back to the Scarlet Moon Demon Domain. Sky Sea City was not far from the Red Moon Demon Sect and was the largest city in the Scarlet Moon Demon Domain. The headquarters of the Demon Suppression Army was now stationed here. In the near future, this place would be the location of a state city. After arriving at Sky Sea City, Lu Yun headed straight for the Merit Exchange Center of the Demon Suppression Army. Chapter 5:27. Massive Exchange. Returning to Morijin, the training in the nearby seas had come to an end, and Lu Yun was ready to return to Morijin. With hundreds of thousands of demon extermination points left on his body, he planned to exchange them all. For upgrading cultivation techniques and divine abilities, energy points were needed, and energy points came from pills. The refinement of imperishable golden bones required a large amount of spiritual power. Spirit crystals contained abundant spiritual power. As long as there were enough spirit crystals, Lu Yun was confident that he could refine all the imperishable golden bones within half a year and transform his body into a great sun, undying golden body. It didn't take long for Lu Yun to arrive at the entrance of the Internal Affairs Hall. Although it was only a temporary base for the Demon Suppression Army, the scale of the Internal Affairs Hall was still quite large. The Merit Exchange Center, on the other hand, was housed in a separate palace, staffed by numerous internal personnel and stewards. At this time in the palace, there were also many demon extermination guards and demon extermination generals exchanging items. After nearly a year of warfare, army officers and soldiers of the Demon Suppression Army had accumulated a large amount of demon extermination points, which would take a long time to consume. Moreover, there were still many hidden dangers in the Scarlet Moon Demon Domain, Profound Darkness Domain, and White Lotus Domain. They needed the Demon Suppression Army to suppress them. So on the first floor of the palace, there were many tasks hanging for the demon extermination generals to pick up. As a result, every so often, there would be demon extermination generals picking up tasks or exchanging demon extermination points. When Lu Yin entered the palace, many demon extermination generals looked at him with changed expressions and then slightly bowed in tribute. "Greetings, General Lu." Lu Yin nodded his head, lightly responding without paying much attention. Seeing this, the demon extermination generals didn't reveal any emotions, only looking at Lu Yun's departing figure with a hint of admiration in their eyes. Lu Yun's reputation was already very prominent throughout the 100 sects, needless to say, in the demon suppression army. Moreover, it was rumored that some time ago Lu Yun chased and killed a powerful demon cultivator from Scarlet Moon Demon Domain all the way to 9 Nether Demon territory. Now that he could return safely and unharmed, it was enough to make people admire him. Regardless of the outcome, late-phase Golden Core realm powerhouses were among the top combat powers in the demon suppression army, just one step away from commanding their own army. The demon suppression army revered the strong. Under such circumstances, even though Lu Yin was merely an Earth-rank demon extermination general like them, in their hearts he was no different from a top-notch heavenly-level extermination general. Not paying attention to the astonishment of these demon extermination generals, Lu Yin went straight up to the 3rd floor. This time he was going to spend hundreds of thousands of demon extermination points in one go, which an ordinary steward wouldn't be able to handle. In addition to Lu Yin's extraordinary power and status, an elder of the Internal Affairs Hall personally welcomed him. The elder, with a smiling face, handed over a crystal stone. It turns out to be General Lu. All the things that can be exchanged with demon extermination points are in here. You can review them first, and when you have made up your mind, I will order someone to bring them. Thank you. Lu Yin nodded and took the crystal stone. His spiritual power seeped into it, and information poured into his sea of consciousness. Compared to the last time he had exchanged items, there were even more things he could exchange this time. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to describe it as all-encompassing. Lu Yun's goal was clear, quickly scanning past these dazzling treasures. Spirit Crystal, 10 demon extermination points each. Blood Spirit Elixir, top-notch 7th grade pill, 10,000 demon extermination points. Purple Cloud Spirit Elixir, top-notch 7th grade pill, 11,000 demon extermination points. Golden Supreme Breaking Sovereignty Pill, 8th grade pill, 25,000 demon extermination points. The amounts of pills and associated demon extermination points that could be exchanged were all grasped by Lu Yun in just a few breaths. It must be said that these pills were diverse and dazzling, making Lu Yun's eyes swim, and his heart surge with excitement. If he could obtain all these pills and refine the energy points they provided, he might be able to break through tens of millions or even hundreds of millions of points instantly. However, even a top-notch 7th grade pill required nearly 10,000 demon extermination points to exchange. Moreover, Lu Yin also saw that divine abilities could be exchanged, and even golden core divine abilities were listed for exchange. Of course, it was worth mentioning that the exchange value of divine abilities was not cheap. One golden core divine ability required 300,000 demon extermination points for exchange. However, this was merely for memory inheritance of the divine ability. Even if one had enough demon extermination points to exchange, they might not necessarily be able to practice entry level. Of course, Lu Yin had not considered exchanging for divine abilities. He planned to spend some demon extermination points to exchange for some cultivation techniques and merge them into divine abilities later on. Pocketing the crystal stone, Lu Yin's gaze fell on the elder in front of him. Elder Chen, I currently have 950,000 demon extermination points. 200,000 of them will be exchanged for 2 million spirit crystals. Another 200,000 points will be exchanged for 20 blood spirit elixirs. 250,000 points for 10 golden supreme breaking sovereignty pills. and the remaining points will be used to exchange for 6 rune seed realm cultivation techniques, 2 for each category: fist techniques, sword techniques, and finger techniques. You can select them at random, as long as they are within the corresponding demon extermination point range. Elder Chen's expression changed slightly, and then he reconfirmed the order. Lu Yin was exchanging too many things at once, consuming a huge amount of demon extermination points, so Elder Chen had to be clear about it. Lu Yun understood this, so he repeated his previous statement. "All right, General Lu, please wait a moment." Elder Chen said this and stood up, went out the door, and summoned several stewards to retrieve the cultivation techniques, spirit crystals, and pills that Lu Yun wanted. Afterward, he instructed a steward to serve Lu Yun a pot of high-quality spirit tea. These stewards were very efficient. Before Lu Yun had finished drinking the spirit tea, they had already brought all the items he wanted to exchange. Chapter 528. Massive Exchange. Returning to Morijin _2, Elder Chen handed over the pills, spirit crystals, and cultivation techniques to Lu Yun and said with a smile, 2 million spirit crystals, 200,000 demon extermination points, 30 pills in total, worth 450,000 demon extermination points. As for the 6 rune seed realm cultivation techniques, there's 250,000 demon extermination points. Lu Yin took a brief look and then nodded slightly. He waved his sleeve and collected everything into the Sumi ring. As for the Sumi ring containing the spirit crystals, he didn't keep it. Instead, he transferred the spirit crystals to his Sumi ring and returned the other one. After doing all this, Lu Yin handed his identity token to Elder Chen. Elder Chen picked up the dark gold token and infused his spiritual power into it, and the respective values appeared directly in his mind. Seeing the impressive 90 or so thousand demon extermination points, he inevitably gave a surprised expression. However, when he thought of Lu Yin's extraordinary record, he quickly got over it. Killing a golden core realm powerhouse can earn from 300,000 to 1 million demon extermination points. And Lu Yin had indeed killed a golden core realm powerhouse. Not long after, Elder Chen deducted the corresponding demon extermination points and returned the identity token to Lu Yin. "Thank you, Elder Chen." After putting away his identity token, Lu Yin slightly cupped his fists and turned around to leave the main hall. TSK, not only did he exchange millions of spirit crystals at once, but he also exchanged for so many cultivation techniques. No wonder he's considered one of the strongest martial academies St. Children in almost a century. Elder Chen looked at Lu Yin's departing figure and couldn't help but shake his head and sigh. Had it been anyone else, he would have thought they were wasting their resources by exchanging for so many different cultivation techniques at once. Because practicing so many techniques would only waste energy, making it impossible for them to reach the Golden Core realm in this lifetime. However, when it came to Lu Yin, all he felt was shock and amazement, because no one would doubt that Lu Yun's limit was the Rune Seed realm. Even reaching the heavenly human realm seemed easily attainable for him. After leaving the Internal Affairs Hall, Lu Yin went straight away from Sky Sea City and returned to Morijin. When leaving, he didn't say goodbye to anyone. However, the high-ranking members of the Demon Suppression Army, as well as Bai Chongfeng, Zhuang Ziyuan, and Wei Zongqing, who had fought alongside Lu Yin during this time, all knew that Lu Yin had left and probably wouldn't return. Although they felt regretful, they didn't try to persuade him, knowing that they couldn't change his decision. Half a month later, a treasure boat belonging to a merchant organization appeared in the sky above the coastal area, controlled by the wind. Many martial artists were standing on it, their eyes filled with joy, clearly looking forward to the coastal area. Some proud martial artists were chatting and laughing at the front, boasting about their experiences and stories. The Scarlet Moon Demon Domain, White Lotus Domain, Profound Darkness Domain, and other domains have all been occupied by the Demon Suppression Army. It won't be long before a new province is established, which will inevitably set off a wave of division, with aristocratic families from the Central Province, Wu Province, and Qing Province joining in. It will bring about another great opportunity. A martial artist in a blue robe said with a smile, his hands clasped behind his back, "I originally thought that Meridian's 13th province would be taken from the demon beast's territory, but unexpectedly it was taken from the 100 sects. Brother Wang, from your tone, could it be that you know the inside story of the establishment of the new province?" A group of people were standing next to the blue-clad martial artist, all of them pricking up their ears, wanting to hear more information. If they could learn about the new province and the various prefectures, it would undoubtedly be invaluable information for the family behind them, something money couldn't buy. "Ah, you don't know a lot." The blue-robed martial artist with the surname Wang waved his hand, clearly knowing a lot. "The imperial court has already decided on the establishment of the new province, and even the appointment of the garrison commander has been completed. However, since the new province is located in the coastal area and involves the Sea Beast tribe and the 100 sects, its importance is even greater than the Ling province, Ying province, and other provinces. The garrison commander should at least be a celestial human realm practitioner." "What? A celestial human?" The crowd exclaimed, their mouths wide open. A typical province garrison commander was usually around the middle stage of the Golden Core realm. The garrison commanders of major provinces, such as Qing province and Wu province, were only at the peak of the Golden Core realm. It was somewhat unbelievable that the newly established province in the coastal area would require a celestial human to govern it. "Ignorant, aren't you?" Wang sneered. "The new province in the coastal area is called Sea Province. It covers an area at least 2 to 3 times the size of Ling province, and it will be divided into 72 prefectures. Currently, only 4 Direction Prefecture, Sky Pool Prefecture, and a dozen other prefectures have been established. Aside from the fact that the position of the Sea Province commander is not up for grabs, your families might be able to vie for a county governor's position. Sea Province, unexpectedly establishing so many prefectures at once." The people exchanged glances with fiery gazes in their eyes. If they could genuinely obtain a county governor's position, it would undoubtedly elevate their family status. In addition to the establishment of Sea Province, there's another sensational matter. The blue-robed martial artist, Wang, continued. "The Demon Suppression Army has produced a peerless genius. At the age of under 16, he had already broken through to the Rune Seed realm, and in the Void battlefield against the Red Moon Demon sect, he killed a senior Golden Core realm true master. Simply terrifying. Brother Wang, I'm afraid this news is a rumor. There couldn't possibly be such a terrifying genius. I think it's just the Demon Suppression Army trying to create momentum." Another white-robed young martial artist, wielding a jade fan and wearing a white phoenix jade pendant around his waist, shook his head slightly. Both reaching the Rune Seed realm at less than 16 years old and killing a Golden Core realm from the Rune Seed realm are near impossible feats. Even the 2 heaven-defying saint children from the Origin Martial Academy might not be able to do it. Chapter 529. Exchanging grandly. Returning to the Great Yuan, _ 3 of the other martial artists around dressed just as well as him nodded in agreement with the young man in white. Although they did not possess peerless talents, they were all individuals with great potential and were highly prioritized in their respective families. But when they were 16 years old, they were still in the true Qi realm or in the transforming Origin realm. You guys still don't believe it. Well, among the heavenly level demon extermination generals in the Demon Suppression Army, there's one who has a close relationship with my grandfather, and they often exchange messages. This matter was personally confirmed by him, so there's no way it could be false. Moreover, that person is also a Martial Academy's saint child, whom you all must have heard of before. Although there are not many saint children in the Martial Academies, we have heard of at least a dozen of them. So how are we supposed to guess which one? Brother Wang, just tell us already, which saint child is this person? Seeing that the young martial artist with the Wang surname only maintained a faint smile and did not clarify, The martial artist in white also chuckled and smiled. Based on what Brother Wang just said, that monstrous genius who broke through to the Rune Seed realm before turning 16, being a Martial Academy Saint Child, and also someone we've heard of, the only one who fits the bill is Saint Child Lu Yun from the Ling Province, Spirit Martial Prefecture, Fly Spirit Martial Academy. At this point, the white-clothed martial artist paused, then shook his head and laughed. We all know about Saint Child Lu Yun. Just a year ago, he was only at the Origin Fluid Realm. Even if he were a monster, how could he continuously break through the Golden Body Realm and Rune Seed Realm in less than a year's time? Although their cultivation levels were not high, with the highest being only around the peak of the Origin Fluid Realm, they had all gone through similar levels. Just the Origin Fluid Realm alone had taken them several years, if not a decade or more, to polish, and that was with adequate resources. You guys still don't believe it? Lu Yun's reputation has already spread throughout the 100 sects. The young martial artist with the surname Wang shook his head slightly and sighed. Enough talking. Once you guys arrive in C Province, you'll know that what I said is not false. At that moment, a violent noise came from the treasure boat, which stopped abruptly in midair. What's going on? Could it be an attack from a sea beast? Various noisy voices suddenly erupted on the treasure boat, and all the martial artists took out their weapons, shimmering with rainbow light, as if they were facing a great enemy. Although there was an array operating on the treasure boat that could defend against sea beast attacks and other powerful forces, they had never been to the coastal area and were unsure of what the strength of the martial artists from the 100 sects and sea beasts would be like. Stay on guard at all times. The Rune Seed Realm powerhouses on the treasure boat also came out one after the other and activated the array. In an instant, the treasure boat was enveloped in a dazzling light. Hee, everyone, there's no need to be alarmed. I just got lost and stopped the treasure boat simply to ask for directions. A voice echoed from all directions in the void. The powerful masters in the Rune Seed Realm were all startled by it, thinking that it must be a true master in the Golden Core Realm. We greet the senior. Those martial artists from various aristocratic families, as well as independent martial cultivators, all bowed to the empty air. In this remote coastal area where humans were scarce, without the protection of powerful family members and the imperial court's laws, they couldn't accidentally be slapped to death by the other party. That would be a huge loss. After searching in the void for a while, the powerful Rune Seed Realm practitioners eventually saw a ray of rainbow light rapidly flying towards them from the distant horizon. It was a handsome, purple-robed youth with an exceptionally refined and natural aura and a gentle smile on his face. Chapter 530. Returning home and good news, everyone was surprised when the senior figure they had been talking about appeared as a teenager. If they were not mistaken, the youth should be around 16 or 17 years old, standing quietly in the void, watching them with a kind gaze. The most peculiar thing was that they couldn't discern the cultivation level of the youth, who seemed like an ordinary person without any cultivation. But could an ordinary person maintain such a calm demeanor facing them and stand so effortlessly in the void? This must be a senior who had reversed his aging. Almost simultaneously, all had such a thought in their hearts. We have only just entered the Near Sea region recently and are unfamiliar with this place. I'm afraid we won't be able to lead the way for senior. Several Rune Seed Realm cultivators hurriedly clasped their hands together, and while they carefully spoke, their eyes subtly stared at Lu Yun's every move, terrified that they might inadvertently offend him and bring disaster upon themselves. Lu Yun smiled peacefully. I don't need to hide anything from you all. I just happened to come from the Scarlet Moon Demon Domain and plan to return to Morijin Ling Province. But for now, I don't know in which direction Ling Province is, so I came to inquire. Only after hearing these words did the numerous martial artists on the treasure boat breathe a slight sigh of relief. Among them, a youth with the surname Wang stepped forward respectfully, came to the edge of the treasure boat, took out a jade slip, held it with both hands, and said reverentially, Senior, I have a jade slip here that details the maps of the 12 provinces and 608 prefectures of Morijin, as well as important cities. I will give it to you. It's better to send him off as soon as possible, as there seems to be no help from heaven or earth here. Though a map of Morijin was valuable, it was worth it if it could resolve potential crises. Lu Yun waved his sleeve gently, and the jade slip turned into a ray of light, flying to his face. With a slight sweep of his spiritual power, a vast amount of information flooded into his sea of consciousness, including the map of the 12 provinces of Morijin. Although it was relatively rough, it contained the 12 provinces, 608 prefectures, and important mountain ranges, rivers, and lakes. Lu Yun quickly located the Spirit Martial Prefecture in the Jade Slip, but that was all he could find, as smaller county towns were not indicated. He put away the Jade Slip, clasped his hands, and smiled. I'll accept your gift, and in return, I'll give you these mysterious instruments. With a flash of light, 3 mysterious instruments flew in front of the youth with the surname Wang. Seeing that he had received 3 mysterious instruments at once, including 1 top-grade mysterious weapon, the youth's eyes showed a hint of surprise and delight. This scene made the several rune seed realm cultivators envious. They didn't have a top-grade mysterious weapon, and now they saw a young martial artist at the peak of the origin fluid realm possessing 3 mysterious weapons all at once, making them regret not being the one to offer the jade slip. Thank you, Senior. The young man with the surname Wang clasped his hands, his smile unable to be concealed. When he looked back at the void in front of him, he saw only faint ripples in the void. Watching this scene, everyone was dumbfounded. Coming without a trace and leaving without footprints, such strength was truly terrifying. Xianer, hurry up and put away the mysterious instruments that Senior gave you. An elder in the rune seed realm on the treasure boat spoke, pulling everyone back from their astonishment and amazement. The young man quickly recovered from his surprise, cautiously glanced at the surrounding people, and clearly noticed that many eyes were focused on him, giving him goosebumps. For him, a young martial artist at the peak of the origin fluid realm, possessing 3 mysterious instruments, including a top-grade mysterious weapon, was not a good thing. Second, Grandpa, 1 mid-level mysterious instrument is enough for me. The rest should be handed over to the family as a token of gratitude for their many years of training. After Wang Xianer finished speaking, he handed 2 mysterious instruments to the Rune Seed Realm Elder. Although he was extremely reluctant in his heart, he appeared relaxed on the surface. Ha ha ha! As expected of our Wang family's outstanding talent, you have not disappointed the family's training for so many years. The Rune Seed Realm Elder smiled slightly and readily put the 2 mysterious instruments into his bag. The other Rune Seed Realm cultivators showed a sense of regret after seeing this, and let go of their thoughts. If the top-grade mysterious weapon was still in Wang Xianer's hands, they would risk trying to get it, but now it had fallen into the hands of the Wang family's second elder, clearly making it impossible to seize forcefully. As Lu Yin left, the oppressive force on the treasure boat instantly disappeared, and the treasure boat began to travel rapidly through the void. Lu Yin completely left the near-sea area and entered Morijin territory. With the guidance of the Jade Slips map, he headed straight for Ling Province. Half a month later, Morijin Ling Province, Spirit Martial Prefecture, Black Tiger Army's station location. Lu Yongsheng, clad in black armor, was inspecting the Black Tiger Army when he suddenly saw a ray of light falling from the sky, scraping out powerful sparks and heading straight in his direction. Not good. Enemy attack. Be careful. Lu Yongsheng thought it was an enemy attack and dared not show any carelessness. He immediately stirred his true origin all over his body, preparing to block this attack that was falling rapidly from the void. However, just as the ball of light was about to reach the ground, its speed began to slow down, gradually revealing its contents to be a dark, long spear, which was inserted directly next to Lu Yongsheng. Lu Yongsheng's entire body remained on high alert, unwilling to relax even for a moment, looking around cautiously. When he confirmed that there were no abnormalities, he finally turned his gaze to the black long spear beside him. The long spear was entirely pitch black, emitting a faint, dark glow, giving a sense of solidity and heaviness. Chapter 531. Return home, celebration, unasur. One glance indicated that this spear was no ordinary weapon. It had to be at least of the superior profound artifact grade. The wielder of such a precious weapon would unquestionably have considerable strength. Why did they throw this spear from the void, yet not hurt anyone? Was it a show of deterrence? As Lu Yongsheng was quickly evaluating the situation, a voice sounded from the void. Years ago, General Lu gifted me the dragon scale saber. Today, I return the favor with the black nether spear. I hope you won't refuse. The calm and steady voice fell from the void, echoing in Lu Yongsheng's ears and all around the Black Tiger Army's base camp. Dragon scale saber! A vision of a young man suddenly popped into Lu Yongsheng's memory. He remembered gifting a mid-level profound artifact, the dragon scale saber, to Lu Yin. Is it really him? Lu Yongsheng laid his hand on the handle of the black nether spear, instantly sensing a cold touch. With a slight exertion of strength, the black nether spear, weighing 2,500 kilograms, lifted off the ground. What a great spear! Truly a great spear! Lu Yongsheng immediately admired it, feeling his true origin in perfect harmony with the black nether spear. With the black nether spear, he felt his power could increase by at least 30%. He glanced up at the tranquil void and then whispered to himself, casually gifting a superior profound artifact like the black nether spear. Just how strong has he become? At the same time, he was silently relieved that his past investment had not gone to waste. A mid-level profound artifact was exchanged for a superior profound artifact, appreciating more than tenfold in value. Elsewhere, after performing the instant horizon technique several times, Lu Yun had reached Spirit Creek Village in Cloudwater County. No matter how the outside world changed, Spirit Creek Village remained a peaceful haven, undisturbed and serene. Every time he returned here, Lu Yun's heart would naturally calm down. It was like a young man who had made a name for himself in the bustling city after leaving his mountain village, returning to the quiet hamlet that nurtured him, would naturally feel at ease. It had been almost 2 years since he last parted with his eldest brother and sister. Coupled with the significant changes in his height, appearance, and demeanor due to the practice of Great Sun Undying Golden Body, he wondered if they would still recognize him. Moreover, after encountering so many people and experiencing so many things, memories of his brother and sister had grown somewhat blurry. He was eager to see them again. When I left last time, my eldest brother already had someone he admired. I wonder how things are progressing now. My elder sister is not so young anymore. She should be married by now. With various thoughts, Lu Yin slowly set foot into Spirit Creek Village again. As soon as he entered the village, he felt a lively atmosphere and noticed many people walking down the village path towards his home. Could it be? Lu Yun had a hunch about what was happening. He hastened his steps, went round a few corners, and a vaguely familiar and mostly strange yard appeared before him. Both inside and outside the yard were full of villagers, men, women, old and young. On the doors and windows of the slightly renovated houses, large red characters denoting happiness were posted. Lu He, wearing red wedding clothes, came to a brand new red palanquin parked 150 m from the yard and brought out the bride, also dressed in red wedding clothes. Then, with the crowd cheering him on, he blushed as he carried her back into the yard. Along the way, many playful children followed the bride and groom, obviously very curious about the bride under the red veil. TSK, Lu family's eldest son is really blessed. I heard the bride is the young lady of a family in Cloudwater County. She's not only scholarly and polite, but also very charming. Isn't it? He's just got connected to the famous and desirable family of the county town. Liu family is going to flourish. That might not necessarily be the case. Don't forget about the second son of the Liu family. He's the darling of heaven. Perhaps it's the bride who is attaching herself to the Liu family? Yes, at that, the second son of Liu family is so well known in Cloudwater County and Spirit Marshal Prefecture. Even the county magistrate would respectfully greet him. For a while, the yard was filled with the villagers talking amongst themselves. I didn't expect today to really be eldest brother's big happy day. A wave of mixed emotions surged in Lu Yun's heart. Happiness, excitement, melancholy. He didn't know why, but he did not show himself, watching the scenery inside and outside the courtyard from afar. Soon he saw a handsome young man, about 18 or 19, walking out of the new house. It was Yunyu. The Yunyu of now, compared to 2 years ago, had changed significantly. There was no longer a childish look on his face. Instead, there was a hint of maturity. After eldest brother Liu, he put the bride down. She propped him up and welcomed him into the room. Lu Yin suppressed the urge to rush home, quietly flying in the air, silently watching the joyful event taking place in the courtyard below. He did not want his arrival to cause any impact on Lu He's celebration. Today, Lu He was the protagonist. Lu Yin also identified a few familiar, yet unfamiliar faces in the courtyard. There were Lu Tianhu and Lu Liangpeng, who had once accompanied him to Cloudwater County for the Martial Academy's examination. There was also old village head Lu Tsangxing, his hair white and body withered. There was also the upright and in his prime Lu Tsang and Lu Meng, who had once taught Lu Yun. These people, more or less, had had some connection with Lu Yun. Seeing them again, there was an inevitable sigh at the transience of the world. Lu Yun stayed in the air for a whole day. He did not return home until the following morning, when all the festivities had come to an end and the villagers had all left. "You are..." Lu Yu, who had just gotten up to clean, looked at Lu Yin, who had suddenly appeared in their yard with surprise and confusion. "Xiao Yin!" Lu Yu almost screamed out, but was promptly stopped by Lu Yin. "Sister, don't disturb the rest of our eldest brother and his wife." While saying so, he was careful to glance in the direction of the bridal chamber. In fact, with his strength, he could easily conceal all noise. However, in this place, in this courtyard, in front of his closest family, he didn't want to use those extraordinary powers. He, at this time, eldest brother and his wife should be waking up. There's no need to be so cautious. Lu Yu laughed as she excitedly pulled Lu Yun into the living room. Post-wedding, the living room was in a bit of a mess. There were big red characters everywhere and a lot of stuff lying around. Lu Yun chatted with Lu Yu while helping to clean up. Not long after, he came into the living room with a woman dressed in purple, her hair adorned with a golden hairpin. The woman had a pointed chin and was very pretty. She seemed to be new to worldly affairs, and there was still a trace of blush on her face. "Xiao Yu, your sister-in-law and I have come to help you clean up." Lu He's boisterous voice sounded as soon as they entered the room. "Who is this?" Then Lu He's gaze fell on Lu Yin. Unlike Lu Yu, who recognized Lu Yun at a glance, he looked closely for a while before widening his eyes and said in disbelief, "You are Xiao Yin?" "Haha, eldest brother, how come you almost couldn't recognize me after only 2 years? Or is it that once you got married, you forgot about your own brother?" Lu Yun joked before moving forward to meet the woman in purple, bowing slightly. Lu Yun pays respect to sister-in-law. Hearing that the extraordinary young man in front of her was Lu Yin, the woman in purple was instantly reminded of something. A look of shock and surprise crossed her face, to the point that she didn't notice Lu Yun's bow. The name of Lu Yin might not be well understood by the villagers of Spirit Creek Village, but she, from a family in Cloudwater County, was very clear about what the name Lu Yin represented. That was the Martial Academy's Saint Child of Flying Spirit, the only Saint Child among all the Martial Academies in Ling Province, and the honorary executive of the Ling Province Alchemist Union. with unparalleled talent and ability. His mere stomping could cause a tremor throughout the Spirit Martial Prefecture. Marrying Lu, he was partly because of his pure and honest nature, and partly due to the factor of Lu Yin. Even the fact that she and Lu he had met was due to a deliberate arrangement by her family. Now, with Lu Yin suddenly appearing in front of her, besides shock and surprise, she also felt a hint of unease.